on the Pentateuch and Old Testament history. Christian Bibles are divided into two main parts, the Old Testament and the New Testament. A testament is a written expression of someone's will, and of course the Old and New Testament expresses God's will for his people. The Old Testament is used by most Protestants and include 39 books of the Bible arranged in 4 categories: the Pentateuch, historical narratives, Psalms and wisdom writings, and the prophets. The Jewish or Hebrew Bible consists of these same 39 books, although they are organized in different categories. The Torah, prophets, and writings. Roman Catholics include in the Old Testament a number of other books which are sometimes referred to as the Apocrypha. Well, the word Pentateuch comes from the Greek term meaning 5, penta. The Pentateuch includes the first 5 books of the Bible: Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. These books are often called the law, but in addition to legal material, they also include poems, songs, epic narratives about the people of God. The Hebrew term used for these books is Torah, which means instruction. These books have sometimes been called the 5 books of Moses. Although most scholars think that the Pentateuch includes materials that were written down by various people over a period of centuries, the Pentateuch tells the story from creation, found in Genesis 1, to a time when the people of Israel were encamped on the edge of the Promised Land, and we find that in Deuteronomy 34. Now, there are 12 books in this part of the Old Testament: Joshua, Judges, Ruth, 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, 1 Kings, 2 Kings, 1 Chronicles, 2 Chronicles, of course, Ezra, Nehemiah, and Esther. These books were composed at different times and places, but have been arranged in a sequence that tells the story of God's people from the occupation of Canaan through the rise and fall of the northern and southern kingdoms and the rebuilding of Jerusalem in the Persian period. What I want to do now is begin with the book of Genesis. Chapters 1 through 11 is primordial history. God creates the world, which is good, but sin enters the world through human disobedience. Adam and Eve eat the fruit that was forbidden to them, and Cain murders his brother Abel. God commands Noah to build an ark in which all pairs of living things are preserved. Afterward, people begin to build a tower up to God in order to make a name for themselves, but God confuses their speech and scatters them to the far corners of the earth. Now, chapters 12 through 25 tell of Abraham and his family. Abraham received a promise that his descendants will become a great nation. Abraham's wife, Sarah, is barren, so he fathers a son, Ishmael, through Sarah's handmaiden, Hagar. In his old age, God tests Abraham by asking him to sacrifice his son Isaac, which he is willing to do so, but God provides a ram in the bulrush. Isaac marries Rebekah, who bears Jacob and Esau. Now, chapters 26 through 36 center on Jacob, who stole his brother's birthright. He flees to his uncle's house, Laban. On his way, he dreams of a ladder stretching unto heaven. Jacob marries Laban's daughter Rachel and has 12 sons. Upon his return to Canaan, Jacob wrestles with an angel who eventually changes his name from Jacob to Israel. Chapters 37 through 50 is the story of Joseph and his brothers. Joseph was Jacob's favorite son. His brothers became jealous and sell him as a slave in Egypt. There, Joseph is imprisoned, but after successfully interpreting Pharaoh's dreams over Egypt's food supply, he is made the 3rd ranking official in the kingdom. At first, Joseph hides his identity from his brothers who come looking for food, and later he brings his entire family to Egypt. Now, that brings us to the book of Exodus. Chapters 1 through 6 recounts the early life and call of Moses. The descendants of Joseph, who had migrated to Egypt, are enslaved by Egyptians. It is decreed that their male children should be killed, but Moses is placed in a basket in the Nile. Pharaoh's daughter finds him and raises him in the royal house. We find that in Exodus 1 and 2. Later, Moses flees after killing an Egyptian. He returns later to Egypt and demands that Pharaoh lets the people of God go. Chapter 7 through 15 narrates Israel's exodus from Egypt. When Pharaoh refuses to release Israel, God sends 10 plagues. He turns the Nile into blood, along with several other plagues. For the last plague, the firstborn of every Egyptian household perishes, although the Israelites were to put lamb's blood on the door so that the angel would pass over their door. They are able to escape. They follow a pillar of fire by night and a pillar of cloud by day. The children of Israel escaped from Egypt by crossing over the Red Sea while God parts the water. Egypt's army is swallowed up in the aftermath of that parting of the water. Chapters 16 through 40 takes Israel to Mount Sinai. After the Exodus, the Israelites travel through a desert, complaining for lack of food. God gives them manna to eat. Although when some try to hoard the manna, it spoils. The people complain about thirst, and God provides water from a rock. At Mount Sinai, God gives the law. Moses establishes the covenant by spattering the sacrificial blood on the people at the altar. When Moses returns to the mountain, the people make a golden calf to worship. God is angry, and Moses shatters the tablets of stone. Moses eventually intercedes on the behalf of the people. Afterward, a sanctuary or a tent of meeting is established to house the tabernacle so that the people can rightly worship God. We find that in 35 through